So one of the basic things about your character in the archetype system, which is true of basically every system, is your base stats. In this case, they're called traits in the archetype system, and they come in three groups. There's 12 traits total. Each group has four traits. Those groups are physical, mental, and social. This is not unique. This is kind of a fairly common way to break them up if you have a bunch of them in categories. The physical traits are strength, endurance, dexterity, and agility. And some of these are more readily obvious than others. Strength is obviously your strength, like how strong you are, how well you move things by raw physical power. Endurance is how well you endure, how well you take on threats from the outside. Dexterity and agility are slightly different. And I borrowed this idea that they're different ideas from mutants masterminds. But basically, dexterity is your ability to control other things in controlled, precise ways, whereas agility is your ability to manipulate your own body in controlled, precise ways. So if you want to do parkour, that's going to be agility. If you want to aim a gun, that's going to be dexterity. The mental traits are where things start to deviate from other systems that I've played with, where you have intelligence, awareness, memory, and cunning. Now, there are some systems that touch on some of these, like the World of Darkness has three under mental traits, and cunning is similar to one of them. But basically, intelligence is broken down to how you process and use information. Awareness is your ability to gather information from your surroundings and stuff. Memory is your ability to store and recall information. And cunning is your ability to apply information quickly, basically thinking on your feet, coming up with something on the fly, piecing things together that you see into a coherent thing without taking the time to really stop and consider it in detail. Social traits I've been playing with a lot. I kept fiddling with them and toying with how exactly I want it to work, and I have it down to a place that I wanted. I think this is what I was going for. Basically, I don't like the way that charisma is a catch-all in a lot of systems. It's just kind of, if it's your personality, it's charisma. And if you're lying, you're charisma. If you're trying to do persuasion, you're leaning on charisma and stuff like this. And that's fine. Like, those are things that happen, but they're not the way that everyone does it. And they're not the way that people do it in every situation. It isn't always about just how well can you smile and get people on your side. So I have changed this a little bit. So charisma is your ability to draw or divert the attention of others, as well as foster social connections. So this is your core, like, how well do you connect with people? How well do you want them to connect, get them to want to connect with you? How well do you kind of, control their attention and what they're thinking about you and stuff like that? Manipulation is about how well you can get people to do things. So it's very external, but it's how well can you see the strings and pull those strings to get results out of people. Conviction is how well you portray yourself as believing a thing. Now, maybe you do believe it, maybe you don't believe it. That's not really what's important to conviction. Conviction is how well, when people look at you, they believe that you believe the thing. And presence is all about the force of your personality to induce awe or fear in people to gain an advantage over them. It is about how strong your force of personality is and how well it presses on or overrides other people's force of personality. It's worth noting that your traits are modifiers. So there's a dice pool that you get from your specialty, which I'll talk about in another video, and then your traits are modifiers that you add to that dice roll. So this is the difference here is only going to be really a difference of a few points on the roll itself, but those few points could matter very significantly in different situations. The other thing that I had difficulty with was creating a method for rolling traits. And I had one that I came up with that I really liked, that I thought was creative, that I thought was interesting. But when I tested it on last night's live stream, I didn't think that the results were better for the purposes of game than just rolling d10s. So that's what we're doing now, is you roll 1d10 per trait. So it's a total of 12 d10s. Assign those numbers to different traits, plus one, because you always start with one free rank in every trait. And that's how you're going to build your sheet. That's how you're going to build your traits on your sheet. The other method that I did come up with, which I can explain in another video, skews towards characters who are below average, which introduces more challenge and more realism. So you have more likelihood that more of your traits are going to be at or below average, human average, if you do the system that I designed. But I didn't think that that was going to be enjoyable enough or good enough for the system, for the enjoyment of the system, to be the core mechanic for doing this. So I did leave it in there. It is included in the chapter on rolling traits as an alternate optional system. And for games that want to go for a bit more realism or a bit more difficulty or something like that, that would be a great way to do that. But because it skews low, it really, I didn't think it was suitable as the primary way that people create heroes, because they're gonna, if every single time you roll your characters, the whole party is like pretty average or below average, eventually you're gonna be asking, why are we playing these characters in this world? Like why wouldn't we play someone who actually stands out in some way? And so I changed it. Anyway, you can catch me designing the system on YouTube and on Twitch. Both channels are called Rabbit Haberdashery. Look them up, and I will be doing more videos here. Thank you.